everybody? It's your favorite NBA app artist back at it once again, folks. Let's talk about some rumors. Let's talk about some reports. Let's talk about some news stories from across the league. Do you guys know NBA free agency started on Tuesday? I honestly didn't even know about that. Who cares? NBA free agency's dead. Thank you. Hey, Mr. Silva. Tell me where you've been. We've got some stuff to talk about today. Ron Harper Jr., 3-year, $9 million deal with the Boston Celtics. I have to ask, this came up and I thought about it. If you guys haven't liked the video, make sure you do so. If you guys aren't subscribed to this channel and the main channel, make sure you do so. Okay, let's take a sip of coffee. But I was thinking about this. Back in the heyday, when Woj and Shams were battling out in the streets for the world to see, like a fight in Invincible or something, and they're tearing each other apart and they're fighting each other and they're going through skyscrapers and killing tens of thousands of people in the process. Never quite understood these superhero movies. Tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people get slaughtered in the middle of these fights. Makes you think if it's even worth it, really. When those two were battling it out like that, was Ron Harper getting multiple tweets? Like the Ron Harper types. And God bless Ron Harper Jr. He's fine, right? Got a lot of minutes in a game 7. But were they getting it? I feel like in the prime of like Woj's career, he would have tweeted out something with Ron Harper's name and would have tweeted something like this. And yet Shams is tweeting out like fluff pieces about every single player. I don't know. I'm kind of done with Shams. Can somebody else take over, please? I mean, I'm too busy personally. Let's talk about some real stuff across the league, shall we? Some offseason intel per the Stein line and Jake Fisher. This is very Nuggets centered, Nugget specific, but there is an interesting nugget in there. Okay. Nikola Jokic considering delaying extension talks with Nuggets until after this summer. So Jokic is going into the second to last year of his deal. This is about when guys start negotiating these contracts. I even think that if memory serves me correctly, that, he's got a player option for 27-28. So insinuating that you'll put off extension talks until next summer does imply the possibility that Jokic could decline his player option and just flat out become a free agent. Now, it's been a very long time since we've seen a player of that caliber hit the free agency market with like an actual real thought that maybe they could sign somewhere else. I doubt that'd be the case. I don't know what teams would have to maneuver in which ways to open up cap space. It does make you think about the possibility of like a Lakers swing, right? But with that being said, though, it's interesting. It is, because it does feel like when you look at this Nuggets roster, what's the goal here? What is the goal? Because there are some reports coming out that are alarming to me, full stop, that they're looking to pay Payton Watson somewhere north of $28 to $30 million per year. Guys, I'm just going to be upfront and honest with you. That is immediately one of the worst contracts in the sport. I know that he had like a nice little run there whenever everyone was injured and he got a chance to go out there and show everybody that he can dribble the ball between his legs a decent amount. But like, this would immediately be one of the worst deals in the sport. And there's just simply no way you can do it. Simply no way. I don't want to have to resort to like the nerdy stuff every single time, but there is zero justification for paying him that much money. None to speak of, unless you want to just look at the kind of the improvement that he's had in his game, and you're just kind of projecting that moving forward, that is he's going to continue to grow, and then in a couple years, maybe 30 million seems about right. And I guess that's fair, but given your salary cap situation, I'm just not entirely sure that's something you can do, right? Like when we're talking about having to pawn off Cam Johnson and or Christian Brown or Aaron Gordon in an effort to free up cap space to bring back Payton Watson and pay him $30 million a year, that just makes zero sense to me. I don't understand that at all. This is one of those things where I'm like, dude, is someone out there going to offer him this for real? Or are you getting played a little bit? Because if I'm them and he comes to me with this, I'm immediately telling him, go find that. If you come back to me and told me that this team's paying me $30 million, then we can start talking about how we can maneuver some salaries around to be able to pay you that. But until then, good luck. With the Lakers, I mean, I'm just thinking about all these teams, and I guess like the Bulls can be an annoying fucking team because you can structure these in a certain way where it's like the deal doesn't have to be super long term, but as long as it's like expensive early, then we might be able to trick the other team that are not doing it, right? So if we're the Bulls and we've got a lot of salary cap space, we don't even need to give them like a 5-year deal. We can just give them like a 3-year deal. But if the first year is $30 million, now the Nuggets are panicking quite a bit, right? I just, like, if the Lakers did this, I think that'd be a bad move for them. I just do, full stop. I don't think that's where they're at from a roster perspective, that they need to spend $30 million on a guy like this. We'll see what ends up coming from that. I'm just like, they're going to really just pawn off Cam Johnson? I mean, I don't even agree with that. I'm not even entirely sure I'd rather have Payton Watson than Cam Johnson at this point if I'm just trying to win right now. Aaron Gordon is kind of an interesting one just because he's become so unreliable health-wise. That it's just like, if we want to maximize Jokic, we just have to make these tough decisions, right? But I do find this interesting. It's coming out that Jokic is considering delaying these extensions. I wonder if that's some pressure being applied by Jokic. Just kind of understanding, this team isn't it. It's not good enough. Teams around us are way better. And what's next? What's our move? How are we going to improve? Trading away good players so that we can overpay a role guy when we are a summer removed from overpaying another role guy, and now we're stuck with that contract. Where if Payton Watson has a mid-year next year, you're stuck with that contract. So then you have two $25+ million deals that you're just saddled with. I just don't think that's smart. I really don't. I don't think that that's the direction they should be moving in. If you could sign and trade Payton Watson, I'd really consider it. If there's something out there for you, I would seriously consider going that direction instead. Denver would prefer to trade Cam Johnson or Christian Brown over Aaron Gordon or Jamal Murray. I feel like that goes without being said. Just some other tidbits from this. Dean Wade, Sandro Mamukelashvili could test open market. So I fully expect Dean Wade to be a sneaky contract guy. We've done it in a couple of the offseason previews. I think we did like full mid-level for a couple teams where it just made some sense to me. Teams with a mid-level exception. Dean Wade, good size, can defend a bunch of different positions. Has stretches where he can shoot the 3-ball well enough where like that's a valuable player who can play playoff minutes 100%. So teams with mid-levels and teams with aspirations to make the playoffs, a guy like Dean Wade makes all the sense in the world. Totally get it. It's kind of same thing with Sandro, right? I could see him easily being a full mid-level guy if he were to actually get out on the open market. Nets are suitors for Keon Ellis. I've got Keon Ellis. What's he going to get? I feel like it's always like Keon Ellis could fetch a couple. Oh, we got traded for actually nothing. Oh, so now it's like, oh, Keon Ellis could be a big contract. What's that? $3 million a year? Oh. And guys, like, I know you hear that and you're like, $3 million slightly. You got to remember, for a lot of people, that's a lot of money. I know it's hard for me to remember that sometimes, but you guys are correct. Rui Hachimura has interest from the Nets Spurs. Yeah, the Spurs make a ton of sense for Rui. Man, he'd fit that team like a glove with the size. I do think like the defensive stuff for him, while he is big, sometimes he doesn't feel like it defensively, right? But just the floor spacing would be pretty big for that group. It's kind of just like a Harrison Barnes replacement, the way you think about it. I feel like the Lakers probably bring him back. Nets kind of fits what they've got going on, right? We're going to have a bunch of big guys that can either shoot or pass. You have to do one of those. Mo Wagner has willingness to leave Orlando. So obviously last year he was coming off of an ACL injury, correct? Didn't play that much. But I still think Mo Wagner's like a pretty solid backup big. So it'd be interesting to see if a team sort of gets him for cheap. I feel like we'll be talking about that, a year or so from now. Like, man, that was a great pickup that they did. So some interesting little tidbits. I mean, think about this. Again, congratulations, Mr. Silva. Hey, Mr. Silva. I mean, we used to have gods entering free agency. We used to have whole entire days planned around it. And now here's our free agent tidbits, guys. Dean Wade, Sandro Mamukelashvili, Keon Ellis, and Mo Wagner, and Rui Hachimura. Hey, Mr. Silva. How about this? Congrats to former Hawaii men's basketball center Isaac Big Fish Johnson on joining the Sixers Summer League team. How about that, huh? The slightly biased scouting department does it once again. Rooting for my man Isaac Johnson as he heads out to Vegas for Summer League. Good player, man. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if he finds his way into some NBA minutes. I'm being dead serious, actually. If you're not aware of this bit, we were just kind of fucking around on the Bart website. What is it called? T-Bart, something like that. The Barkovich. stuff. We were just messing around with some of the filters. And then we found this dude. It's like a 7+ footer who was like 80% from the free throw line, shot a ton of threes, blocked a lot of shots. I was like, what the hell? Is this the greatest player of all time? Why is no one talking about this top 10 pick? And he's like 28 years old. So I do think he might. I actually do think he might be an NBA player. I'm being dead ass serious though. DeAndre Ayton is expected to pick up his player option and return to the Lakers. So I kind of thought about this, right? If I were DeAndre Ayton's player option is like $8 million. If I were an NBA team, with my idea being, let's save some money. Maybe we do some shady stuff under the table to help us salary cap wise. Get your jokes off. Salary cap wise. I would approach a reputable NBA reporter and I would say, hey, I'll pay you $3 million. Life altering money. You can get fired because you will get fired for this, by the way. $3 million. I want you to pump up stories that teams are willing to pay DeAndre Ayton more than his player option, so that he ends up opting out. It's not true. Nobody in their right mind will pay DeAndre Ayton more than $8 million because he sucks, right? But you tell a reputable reporter that, give him $3 million, you in the long run save $5 million. The reporter gets fired, but they now have $3 million parachute. Something to think about. I should start some type of agency that does that. The Nuggets have discussed potentially pursuing Jaylen Brown. So this kind of speaks to maybe the Jokic thing where Jokic could be behind the scenes putting some pressure on, like, yo, what's up? What's our next move? Okay. Yeah, it's great. You know, we can use the injury excuse the last couple years. 2023, we won. That's fantastic. But we haven't, then we got gamed in game 7 by the Timberwolves. Then we got gamed in game 7 by the Thunder. Then we had an embarrassing first round exit to the Timberwolves again, who own us. Like, what's our play? This feels like it could be a desperation move, maybe. Is there a Jamal Murray for Jaylen Brown swap? Who's giving up what else in that scenario? I'd rather have Jamal Murray, I think. Is there an Aaron Gordon type of centered swap? Then in that case, the Nuggets are probably giving up more, right? Something interesting. And there is like some salary stuff that does make sense for those two. We're going to close this out with some Jaylen Brown stuff. Jaylen Brown's trade value isn't that high around the league, per Bobby Marks. I had an analytics guy tell me we view Jaylen Brown as the 7th best player on a team. Oh, man. 7th best is a little crazy, right? That might be a little too sheets pilled. But dude, every team has these advanced analytics departments. Analytics, I think you could really tell from this year's draft, which if you were following Sheets FC on draft Twitter at all, it went pretty similar to how a lot of Sheets people thought it could go. The analytics are, not only are they not kind to Jaylen Brown, because there are some stars that analytics don't love, like Anthony Edwards, for example, but they don't hate. They just don't paint him as like a top 6 or 7 player in the league, right? Analytics hate Jaylen Brown. They don't even view him as an all-star player. They don't even view him as like a top 50 player. Some don't even view him as a top 100 player in the entire sport. Is that extreme? Probably, yes. But this idea that they're going to be asking for 4 first-round picks and stuff like that, yeah, they're going to try and scam a team, right? They're going to try and scam a team. And I saw someone point this out, and it's honestly a pretty good point, that just look at the all-star voting and award voting from GMs and stuff like that. They don't really rate Jaylen Brown that much. That's actually a pretty good way to look at things, is how when they do like GM polls or when teams or front offices have award votes or stuff like that, that is actually a pretty good way to tell how the league views certain people, right? One team is standing out as the most aggressive pursuer of Jaylen Brown, per Jake Fisher on the Stein line, the Trailblazers. Portland has coveted Brown since Damian Lillard's first run there and now has the assets to chase him. The catch, Boston is reportedly asking for as many as 4 first-round picks. So I'm so interested to see where this ends up, because I don't know how you come back from this if you're the Celtics, right? It's one thing for Jaylen Brown's name to be brought up all the time with Giannis, because you could go to him and just be like, hey, man, listen, Giannis is a 2-time MVP. I know he's getting older, but we got to explore these things. We'd be a horrible front office if we didn't explore these things. It's nothing. We have nothing but love for you. That still might be a little bit dicey because you did the same thing 4 years ago with Kevin Durant, but that's still the way you would approach it. Where now it's just like, we're just dangling his name. It's like, yeah, maybe we'll trade him to the Nuggets. Yeah, maybe we'll trade him to the Blazers. I don't know how you come back from this, really. Because I don't know if Jaylen Brown's the type of personality to just be like, yeah, whatever, I don't give a fuck. He might say it, but in the long run, I'm not sure he actually means it. So we'll see. No, I don't think Jaylen Brown is worth 4 first-round picks, personally. He's one of these very weird players, and Sam Quinn says this. There's a strain of NBA thought that suggests that basically the only players with trade value are guys on rookie contracts, MVPs in their 20s, and 3D wings on below-market contract. It goes too far. Well, I want to ask you this. When was the last time one of these worked? And I'm not talking like... Here's the thing about Jaylen Brown. He's a very specific type of player. He's not a Mikal Bridges. He really isn't. Mikal Bridges is a plug and play. He's going to do all of the dirty work defensively. You really got to never worry about that side of things. If the offense comes with it, fantastic. Jaylen Brown's not like that. I know he has this reputation as a defender, but he's really not like that at all. When he locks in, it's fine. How often is he locking in over the course of a full game, over the course of a full season? Not as much as you would probably think, right? And also, the ball's in his hands a bunch. When was the last time it really worked out for a player like this? And I'd have to imagine a team trading for him. Jaylen Brown's probably going to view that as like, all right, I'm going to a team to be the guy now. It does make sense. Think about the teams that have won the championships recently. Yeah, the Knicks made a couple big time all-in trades, but to your point, though, like they didn't give up much to get Cat. Cat's a top 20, top 30 player in the league. Why? Similar-ish thing to Jaylen Brown, where contrary to what you might think, for the stature of player, a lot goes into having that player, so their market's probably not as big. They did give up 5 first-round picks for a player like Mikal Bridges. Why? Because there probably is a market for Mikal Bridges. Because every team can look at Mikal Bridges and be like, yeah, we don't got to worry about shit with him. Just bring him in and plug him in. And he immediately makes our team way better. Think about the Thunder. Obviously, the Paul George trade and stuff like that, but their big move, their big like all-in move was trading for a guy like Alex Caruso and then overpaying Isaiah Hartenstein. The team before then, the Celtics, ironically. What was their big all-in move? Did they make the big KD trade? Did they trade 5 first-round picks for KD? Did they make a giant Giannis trade? No, they traded a pick for Derek White, and then they traded for Drew Holiday. 2 role guys, right? Who was before them? The Nuggets? Aaron Gordon. It just doesn't work like that. The teams that make these big all-in pushes for these type of players, it just doesn't work, really. So it does make sense to me. Anyways, let me know what you guys think down below, okay?